Lesson 7-8, Addition and Subtraction Expressions with Fractions. By the end of today's lesson, you will be able to evaluate addition and subtraction expressions with fractions. Make sure you have your piece of paper and your pencil ready so you can work right along with me. Okay, we've done expressions like this before with whole numbers, and now we're going to work them out with fractions. So we have 1 3/4 plus 2 1/3 plus j, when j equals 1/4. So we just need to plug that right on into our sentence, or our expression, 1 3/4 plus 2 1/3 plus 1/4. Okay, now that's ready to go. Remember, it's usually easiest if you instead write your problems vertically instead of horizontally. So I'm going to change that now. Okay, now it's lined up and ready to go. As I take a look here, I have a 4, a 3, and a 4 for my denominators. So I need to figure out what all three of these go into. I know that they all go into 12. So I'm going to make that my common denominator. So equals, I bring over my whole number, and I bring over my whole number, and that one doesn't have a whole number. Then I make my fraction bars. So if I want to make them all 12, then I need to multiply. 4 times 3 equals 12, so I need to multiply that one by 3. Then I need to multiply this one by 4. And then this one I know by 3 again. So I have 9 plus 4 plus 3. So that equals 16 twelfths. Now I add up my whole numbers. 2 plus 1 equals 3. 3 and 16 twelfths. Well, as I take a look here, this is an improper fraction, so I need to reduce that down. 12 goes into 16 one whole time, so that would equal 1. And then I have 4 left over, 4 twelfths. So I need to add up my whole numbers now. 3 plus 1 equals 4. And then I take a look at my fraction here, 4 twelfths, and I need to reduce that. I know 4 goes into 12 evenly, so I divide them both by 4, and I get 1/3. So 4 1/3 would be my answer in simplest form for that problem. Okay, let's try another one together. I have 1 1/6 plus r plus 1 2/5 when r equals 1 3/4. So I'm going to rewrite this vertically. 1 1/6 and then 1 3/4 because that's what they're telling me r is. And then 1 2/5. And I add those just like that. So now I need to look at my denominators. I have a 6, a 4, and a 5. So I need to think, what do all of these go into evenly? I'm going to use my 5 and just find my multiples of 5 while trying to think, what does 4 and 6 also go into that's common here? So I'll list 5, 10, 15, 20. Well, 4 goes into 20, but 6 doesn't, so I need to keep going. 25, 30. 6 goes into 30, but 4 doesn't. 35, 40. 45, 50. 55, and 60. 60 is going to be my number that I use because that's what 4 and 6 both go into, as well as 5. So I'm going to put my equal signs right here, bring over my whole number 1, and my fraction bar. This is going to be a 60. My whole number 1, 60, and my whole number 1 and 60. Okay, so 6 times 10, so 1 times 10 equals 10. It was 4 times 15, so then I need to do 3 times 15, which would be, oops, sorry, that's 45, not 65. Okay, and then 5 times 12. So this would be 24. Okay, so now all that's left is for me to add them up. So I add up my fractions. 10 plus 45 equals 55 plus 24. Okay, that equals 79. I'm going to write that right here because I can't fit it below. 79 over 60. And then I have my three whole numbers to add up. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. So 3 and 79/60ths. Well, I know 60 goes into 79 one whole time. So I'm going to do this for my fraction, equals 1 whole. And then I have 19 left over 60. So I need to add this fraction to my whole number. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. And my fraction stays the same, 19/60ths. Okay, I want you to try this one on your own. 1.5 plus s plus 6 3/4 when s equals 1 3/8. Then come back and check your work right along with me. Okay, I've gone ahead and written this already vertically so that way I'm ready to add them up. So I take a look here at my denominators. I have 2, 8, and 4. 8 is my biggest one. 2 goes into 8. 4 goes into 8. So that means I can use this for 8 as my common denominator. So that saves a little bit of multiplication. So I do equals 1, and this is going to be an 8. So 2 times 4 equals 8. So 4 times 1 equals 4. And my whole number, this stays the same. And now this one, my whole number is a 6. My denominator is an 8. 4 times 2 equaled 8, so 3 times 2 equals 6. So now I'm ready to add them up. And I have 4 plus 3 plus 6, which equals 13/8. And then I add my whole numbers, 6, 7, and 8. 8 and 13/8. Okay, I know I need to change my improper fraction down here. So my fraction, 8 goes into 13 one whole time, and there's 5 left over, and my denominator stays the same. Then I need to add in my whole number. So that equals 9 5/8. All right, I hope that's what you got too. Go ahead and rewatch any parts of the video that you need to before heading off to today's lesson.